Welcome to Economy News. Today we are discussing sugar on today's broadcast. On today's episode, I'll be using the new technology of the economy tablet. First thing is that we have to go back into history and look at the price trends of sugar. So, the price trend of sugar in the last 5 years has been fluctuating over the course of months and years. The peak of sugar prices in the past 5 years was in 2016. The price was 26 cents as of October 2016, and it was at its lowest price in April 2020 at 10 cents. Next, we are going to discuss the price trends of the last 30 days, which I think play a big part in the low price range as of April 2020. So for the price trend as of the past 30 days is that they are traded above 15 cents a pound in the third week of November 2020, reaching the highest level since February amid a recovery in the global demand and supply disruptions. In Europe, sugar production has fallen due to the virus being in the yellow, and a severe spring drought has happened in Thailand, which production has dropped due to the dry weather. However, for sugar, it remains challenging amid high production from Brazil and India, and as Europe reintroduces lockdown regulations, which will likely lower consumption. Sugar hit a 13-year low of 9.2 cents a pound when the countries were under lockdown. Now we are going to discuss the uses of sugar. So the most common uses of sugar are sweetener, such as candy, preservatives, texture modifiers, like to enhance like the way something feels when you're eating it, coloring agents, bulking agent in food to make them weigh more. So it's used as sort of a filler for foods, and the fermentation substrate in biochemistry. So now we're going to go on to the biggest dominators in the industry. So this is judged based off of market shares, and these are the ones who are supplying the sugar. In order, these companies are the Terryos SA market share, then is the Swade Zucker AG market share, the third one is the Associated British Food PLC market share, and then it is the American Crystal Sugar Company market share, and then is the Raisin SA market share, are the top supplying companies in the sugar industry. Now we are going to look at the biggest companies who are in demand of the sugar. So I was unable to find the statistics on the biggest companies that are in demand for sugar, but I was able to find the biggest importers that are demanding sugar based off of the country. So number one is the United States of America. They buy about $1.7 billion worth of sugar a year, which is 8.1% of the total imported sugar amount. Number two is China at $1.1 billion in sugar, and they import about 5.5% of sugar. Then the third one is what I was surprised about is actually Indonesia at $1 billion at 4.9%. And then the fourth one is Italy, which is $728.7 million worth of sugar at 3.6%. And then five, which was also surprising to me, was Algeria, which is at about $646.1 million, which is 3.2% of the sugar that is imported. Next up is imports and exports. So, with my economy tablet, I have the graph right here. So this is principal sugar exporting countries as of 2019 and 2020. So, and this is in a million metric tons. So number one country is Brazil at 19.3 metric tons. The second one is Thailand at 10.65 metric tons. And then it is India, which is 5 metric tons, which is very interesting because it's a very flat number compared to the other ones. And then the next one is Australia at 3.32 metric tons. And then the last one is Guatemala at 1.95 metric tons. After the exporters, we're going to talk about the importers, which I went into a little bit about earlier, but just to compile it into a cohesive group, I'm going to reiterate it again for the imports. So the biggest importers is number one, the United States at $1.7 billion. Number two is China at $1.1 billion. And then it is Indonesia at $1 billion. And then 4 is Italy at $728.7 million. And then the last one is Algeria at $646.1 million worth of sugar imports. I'm actually very surprised by this list. I guess you guys can let me know if you also find this very surprising. I'm not surprised about the United States and China being at 1 and 2 at all. I am surprised about Indonesia spending $1 billion in importing sugar, which is more than Italy. And then Algeria was also surprising because that, at least for me, came out of nowhere. Another interesting fact that I find quite odd is that $1.7 billion, which is the United States amount of imports of sugar, sounds like so much, and it's 8.1% of total imported sugar, which I feel like it goes both ways. Like, it could sound like a small number, but it also sounds like a really large portion with the amount of sugar that is coming into the country. Into the major events that affect the sugar industry. As stated earlier, in Europe, due to the coronavirus being in the yellow zone and the severe spring drought in Thailand, the production of sugar dropped due to the weather being dry, as sugar needs a moist and wet environment to grow and be produced from the sugarcane. With countries going back into lockdown, this will also affect the consumption of sugar, which will more than likely get lowered. Other factors that affect the sugar market are the inflation of the US dollar. This is because the States dollar is the most commonly used form of currency and trading for majority of countries. What also affects the sugar industry is, surprisingly, the oil, such as gasoline, due to ethanol that is inside of the sugar cane. If gasoline prices go up, sugar prices also go up due to ethanol. Government tariffs also play a part in the sugar industry, as in it'll make people either buy more sugar or buy less sugar. We're going to get into the projection of the sugar industry. So according to the Intercontinental Exchange, raw sugar prices are projected to reach 342 trillion in US dollars. Nominal terms. World sugar production is projected to grow by 2.1% by 2025, which is nearly 19% above the average for the period. Even higher increases are projected to go up to 79% on the global sugar production as of 2025 for developing countries, compared to the past 77% during the base period. As an economist, I personally would not invest in the sugar industry. More personal reasons, as in for the fact of I believe that people are going to be projected to live a healthier lifestyle as people are more onto the health kicks and everything. So I feel like people are going to be cutting out sugar, and so as it is, even though it is projected to grow, I think eventually it will go down due to the healthier lifestyles of people. I also personally would not invest in this industry because of the moral dilemmas, such as underpaid workers in these developing countries and how they are treated. I do not want to feed into the whole toxicity and the moral dilemma of underpaying workers and then making huge profits, which sounds amazing to have huge profits, but I would not want that burden on my shoulders. Another reason why I would not invest in this industry is because I prefer to keep the world moving towards a more environmentally friendly direction, since a major reason why sugar is processed is for the ethanol, for gas and gasoline. I would hope to see more electric cars become more popular, which I believe they are, and so I do not want to invest in this industry because I think it is going to be more towards electric vehicles, and again with the moral dilemma of using gasoline and emitting these toxic gases into the environment. This is why I think the sugar industry is, yes, it's going to go higher, but I think it will be going downhill in the near future. Thank you for watching this episode of Economy News. My name is Sophie Gonzalez, and thank you for watching our episode about the sugar industry.